Hello, this is Crystal Blue, and this is the fourth and final part of the second Earth is Magical reading. I'll be posting it on Patreon and probably a couple of other social media sites as I get more involved in posting my work on perhaps like BitChute or Gumdrop. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. I also have an account through um, Vimeo. So I'm trying to ensure that uh, the most important parts of these messages get out free, but I do spend quite a bit of time getting them prepared. So I can't, have everything for free, unfortunately, but I have been doing that for a number of years, and now I'm going to be expanding in um, my spiritual part of my business under New World Communications. So, with that, I'm going to read the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards. There's 6 to 7 cards. We'll see how far my voice will allow me to go this evening. In recording, I just recorded about an hour and a half long segment for part 3 of this reading. Um, it was called Animal Allies and Guardian Gemstones. That's part 3 of this second reading. I am now doing part 4, Angels and Ancestors. And interestingly enough, toward the end of that third part of the reading, I pulled charms, and the last charm that came out was an angel charm. Okay, so this is a perfect segue from that particular part of the reading, of this reading in totality, to this section, this part 4, or section 4 of the reading, if you will. So this deck is by Kyle Gray, and it's called Angels and Ancestors Oracle Cards. And the artwork is by Lily Moses. So this is more of a rustic type of oracle deck. And the primary card that came out is Broken Arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read from the guidebook, just so you know. The bottom of the deck, too, before I forget to mention it, is called The Trader, Trader. And I'll read more about the bottom of the deck because that's the overall message or the overall energy in relation to this portion of the Earth is Magical reading. And we're dealing with different aspects of this, right? So when you think about the components of this message, the first part talks about the oracle card messages from the Earth Magic deck. The second part talks about a map, right? Spirit is setting up a map and giving us ideas and clues and cues. And many of those clues and cues came through in the third part of the reading about patterns, about ideas, about creativity, about the magic in life, about learning more about your higher self, about evolving your consciousness. The crystals are there to reinforce that, and they're on the reverse of each of the Animal Allies cards. There's a corresponding gemstone associated to the spirit animal that showed up, and I read several of those cards in the third part of this reading. So it's not surprising that the overall energy for this part of the reading has a man on it, right? A man selling his wares, his creative products, right? His textiles. And interestingly, there's a rabbit right behind him. And a rabbit was the overall energy as in the third part of the reading, and the eagle was also coming through. So you can see the bottom of the deck energies. There's a woman there and a man there. Okay, so it goes trader, spring, the rabbit, the wise woman, and the eagle. And then after that is another man, a young man, who's a stargazer. And then after that is a guardian angel. Okay, so key guidance coming through here. I'm always fascinated how the information comes through. So again, the bottom of the deck, the overall energy involves trading, trading ideas, trading wares, being creative, doing things in more creative ways, and not exploitation of human, natural, or animal resources. So, the first card, as I said, is Broken Arrow. This says, embrace the energy of peace. So, I hope these are alphabetized here. I think they are. Maybe not. Let's see if I can find it. There's the trader. I think I'll read that one first since I'm right here. So the bottom of the deck, the message is make connections and exchange information, talents, or support. About the trader brings the lesson and energy of exchange. When he appears, he could represent an opportunity to exchange talents, whatever they may be, in order to expand, or be about the exchange of energies that come from the universe, or both. For example, if you are a creative person or consider yourself creative, when you share your talents, you are giving them, and when you do so, the universe will give you more in order for you to share more. And that's the exact messages that were coming through in the third part of this overall Earth is Magical reading about sharing resources, sharing talents, sharing creativity, sharing your skills, and about cycles. It says right here, after sharing more, it's all a beautiful cycle. And one of the spirit or the animal totem cards was talking about the cycles of life. So the trader also reminds you to be open and honest and to act with integrity in your exchanges, because doing something to get something will only lead to challenges. And that's pretty much what I offered from my personal experience with those who are doing things with the side advantage and side manipulation to get more and get more than their fair share and get more than they deserve and take others' blessings and take others' resources and take others' animals and take from the land and take the animals from the land that they belong on. So it's not surprising this trader energy is reminding us when we exchange energy, it needs to be in a balanced way to share more, not take more. The extended message I'll read too. The universe operates under the law of cause and effect, and that's exactly what I just talked about in the 12 universal laws that I'll be adding to this particular reading too. It's an audio file. So again, the universe operates under the law of cause and effect and is always looking to return to a natural state of balance. So if you are lacking in the feelings of abundance at this time, you're being invited to share your time, your gifts, and your understanding with others. If you're frustrated because something is not unfolding in your life, instead of asking yourself, what can you get? Ask yourself, what can you give? The exchange of energy doesn't necessarily mean financial energy. It can also be about supporting in order to feel supported. If you've been holding back with your offerings, now is the time to change that. Allow yourself to be open, honest, and to be vulnerable. This can prepare you to open up to even greater opportunities in the coming days, weeks, and months. And I believe it was the postcard from Spirit with either the butterfly on it or the dragonfly in the third part of this Earth is Magical reading number 2, who talked about opportunities as well as more than one of the animal totem or animal spirit cards. So the broken arrow is, I see how this is organized. I haven't looked at this deck for a while, or this book. So I believe it's going to be under warrior symbols. And one of the animal spirit totem cards talked about symbols and patterns, recognizing them in nature. Yeah, so here it is right here. Surround yourself with protective energy. Well, that's the arrow. The broken arrow is embrace the energy of peace. So if the arrow is broken, what does that mean to you? It means the weapons formed against you are breaking or will be broken. Okay. Message: let go of the need to defend yourself and prepare to offer peace. You are safe. Just as the arrow card symbolizes defense and protection, the broken arrow card symbolizes peace. In Native American traditions, a broken arrow would mean that tribes were no longer fighting one another but were making alliances. When you see a broken arrow in a meditation, a vision, a dream, or a reading, it is a message that you no longer need to fight because peace has arrived. This is a powerful symbol of harmony, serenity, and community. The extended message. I'm going to read the extended message because it's the primary card that I pulled, and it correlates along with the Trader bottom of the deck card. So the extended message for the broken arrow. If you've been exposed to a situation in which you have felt the need to protect yourself or to defend what you feel is right, know that this is now coming to an end. With the arrival of the broken arrow card, you are being guided to know that the energies of light are entering to wash away all of the darkness. You can drop your shields and your protection. You are now in a situation that will honor you and honor your needs. Arguments are ending and disagreements are being resolved. Prepare to talk things through and to offer peace that you would like to enjoy. In order to move forward in a more fearless way, it is important for you to let go of the idea that you can be hurt by the situation or the same people involved, because this will only work against you. Know that your angelic guides and your ancestors are standing around you, protecting you, and taking you lovingly forward. And that's what these postcard from Spirit messages were getting at also in relation to success. So that's good, because I can tell you, for me, I've been at it for more than a decade, and I'm pretty tired. So let's see. Some people, too, I can say, are still not through this energy of peace, and that's part of their healing journey. So I know Spirit is using me as a light worker, peacekeeper, and a mediator in unique ways. Okay, and so the next one is autumn. And so I believe, oh, here it is right here, because there's winter, summer. Autumn is like a key. I've noticed autumn, spring, summer, all three have been prominent in other readings that I've been um, journaling about. So, in my opinion, this goes back to the autumn of 2020 and to the what is called the Lionsgate portal 8/8 of 2020. And that energy actually can be correlated back to the Lionsgate portal for 2019, which I talked about on my website, Science Spirituality University.com. You can go into the archive on at the olive green column on the right, and you can look for the 2019 and 2020 archives. But that's going from summer into fall, right around that time, and it's a pivotal portal, a portal of ascension, ascending into higher consciousness. So the autumn card says, release all of the pressure and expectation weighing you down. Shed it all so that you can recover before moving into a time of renewal. And that renewal is now, it's springtime, right? So from autumn to spring, things had to die away as consciousness is elevated. The old is dying away, right? The trees drop their leaves, they go within, they hold in their energy over the winter time, and then they're able to come back out in the spring. And for instance, just today, a forsythia bush that I had pruned way back over the past couple years is actually now producing flowers. Before it wasn't really producing any flowers, or maybe just one or two on a really big bush, and now it's blooming as it should, and that's because I pruned it back and it had to regenerate and put its energy toward new growth and new flowers. So Mother Nature is awesome. So here it talks about this card, the autumn card, right? And it's got a crow on it. Okay, and the crow has a spiritual meaning too. The autumn is when trees are preparing for long cold winters and must let go of all the weight that they carry in order to continue to grow and prosper. Sometimes you too just have to surrender an aspect of you in order to continue to grow and prosper into the future. So that future is now. The raven on the autumn card, that's a raven. I said a crow, but it's a raven or crow. And also a raven is one of the animal totems or animal spirits that was in the third part of the reading. It was actually right after the buffalo, giraffe, dolphin, and rabbit at the bottom of the deck. So it's one of the top 5 spirit animals that showed up as the bottom of the deck overall energy, right? So, and the rabbit was the main bottom of the deck card, and this is the main bottom of the deck card for this part of the reading. And the rabbit card was talking about, it was correlating Botswana agate with the rabbit message, and that would be the guardian gemstone is the Botswana agate, and it also involves the message of different perspectives, understanding different perspectives and insights, right? And like I said, look at what's right underneath the trader card, the spring card. So I just got done talking about autumn to spring. So the message is very strong once again about regeneration and understanding different perspectives and going within and shedding the old and conserving one's energy so that one can regenerate new growth. That's part of life moving into the new earth. It's not different than in the past, but what is different about the past that I talk about and that I talk about in relation to chakras and the past life chakra pink card that I pulled from my self-made deck or my homemade deck is, we have to let go of the past in order to move forward. My book, Past Forward, I wrote about the problems plaguing us that keep repeating from the past because people aren't healing and they don't know how to heal, and they can only associate, it seems, a value of living life from their own perspective while they ignore the perspective of millions and billions of others who have a right to live on our planet, as do animals and plants, and they don't need to be annihilated with chemicals, machinery, weapons, etc. So that's why this broken arrow card is very important. So again, we're dealing with autumn to spring. Autumn to spring. And this involves trading, and in my opinion, it also involves addressing the highly problematic issue of trading animals as if they're products instead of living beings. And this also gets to the human trafficking issue. Okay, so the raven on the autumn card shows there is an opportunity to heal at this time. In Celtic animal medicine, the raven is the bird of healing and initiation. The healing it brings is a shift that allows you to move into a more powerful psychic space where you can be more aware of your needs and desires and to be better supported. And that's what the more than one animal spirit card was talking about from the Animal Allies and Guardian Gemstones deck in relation to looking at things and evolving into a higher perspective And when you do that, you can see others' perspectives on this planet, and you're not narcissistic. The extended message, I'll just read the first part. You know what is heavy and what is holding you back. Is it a person, a situation, a dream? Like the trees letting go of their leaves and fruit in the autumn, it's been time to let go. When you hold on, you try to control reality, and that never works. And that's what people are doing. They're warping what it is, what it means to be realistic, and what reality is, because they keep recreating scenarios over and over again from the past as if they're new, and expecting everybody else on the planet to just go along with it. And that's not happening anymore. And that is the broken arrow. The wars are ending for good. Okay, so if you want more detailed information about this part of the reading, I'd be glad to type it up for you. I'm not going to get into the extended message here. Otherwise, I'll be here for 2 hours. But after the autumn, release the old. Um, Release the old and rest message comes the warrior message. Okay? And, he's done some battle, right? Fearless, be fearless and stand strong. And that's what many of us have had to do unexpectedly and for a long period of time. So, yes, be fearless, stand strong. Let's see, warrior. The warrior. Don't back down. Make your opinions heard. Do not settle for second best. A warrior is anyone who is ready and willing to know themselves and do what needs to be done in order to get where they want to be. In this deck, the warrior embodies fierce, primal love. The warrior within, the energy you can call on to protect yourself. Even if you do not think you love yourself, if you are exposed to a situation that could be harmful and dangerous, the steps you take to protect yourself are in fact acts of fierce love. Although the warrior in this card is surrounded by darkness, okay, see, he's surrounded by darkness, he is of the light. The warrior within is made of light and has the capacity to shine even more brightly when facing the darkness head on. Okay, so there's a series here. You can see that we're talking about autumn to spring. And also in my notes, the top of the deck card is the summer card. Let me see if I have it in order here still. I think I do. Yeah. And it's the bee. Okay, the bee. And the bee is coming up strongly in Amanda Ellis's more recent posting during Holy Week 2021, and it's also coming up in I think she calls herself the Moonlight Oracle or the Moonlight Tarot. Both of them are talking about the B or the letter B. And for me, B means B-side. The B-side of all of the difficulties where I've had to be a light warrior too. But that's what I was incarnated on this earth to do and to be. So, so the next card is the Druid. Hold the space as a warrior. So you can be a warrior of light, but you also need to learn to hold the space so that peace can come in, right? As you release the old and rest. And that's also coming through in tarot that I do for myself personally. So I know the rest card, the Four of Swords, is in recent past energy, and then there's the Devil card that's come up as current energy, and that is being the warrior, resting while you prepare to take things head on and stand strong in the dark. So this is very resonant right now. I pulled these cards a month or so ago, and when did I pull these? I pulled these actually in February, and I just haven't been able to get to reading them until now. So it's good though, because with time you get even more perspective as more readings and more energy information manifests and reveals itself. So the Druid card is up front here, I think. It's probably one of the first ones. They're called sacred ones. Yep, it's the first one. Okay. So the Druid is considered in this deck a sacred one, just like the warrior. So we have two sacred beings appearing so far in this message, right? And I'm just going to keep putting them along here so I can actually, let me move this so I can position it. Broken Arrow is the main card right here. Broken Arrow. And we have the Warrior. And we have Autumn. And now we have Druid. If you can see those. It's a little dark in here tonight, although I have several lights and candles still going. Let's see if I can position this just a little more as I read. Okay, Druid, hold the space. Hold things together. Don't make any sudden moves or changes, but stand strong, knowing you are exactly where you're supposed to be. The Druids were ancient wise ones of the British Isles. They had a deep connection with the earth, the sun, and the moon. And I mentioned the moon and the cycles of life in relation to at least one of the spirit animal or totem animal cards, animal totem cards, excuse me. Um, the Druids were scholars who created the Ogham tree language, and they were known for their creative skills in storytelling, poetry, and craftsmanship. And the first part of this extended message for the Druid, Hold the Space, is when the Druid card appears in a reading, you're being guided to dig deep within and hold your station. If you're wondering what to do next or have a sense of anxiety about what is unfolding in your life, it's time to shift your perceptions and move back to a state of trust. Don't change your plans or do anything drastic. Just trust in the process and let everything happen as it needs to be before taking more steps. Okay? Think of yourself as a tree with deep roots, but you're continuing to grow and you'll bear fruit. Okay? Your life will be a reflection of the tree. And like I mentioned, the forsythia tree, right? It takes time to regenerate before you can put out your flowers or your blooms, right? But at the top of this deck, it's the summer card, and right behind the trader card is the spring card. So we're going through this progression from autumn to spring into summer, and give yourself time and space, and hold the space as you prepare for what's to come. None of us know what the future holds exactly, but when you get prepared, you be fearless and you hold the space and you plan, then you'll be ready for the next steps. But get your rest. Okay, and then after Druid is the Shaolin Master. And I believe that's also a sacred one, representing a sacred one on the Asian continent, one of the Asian continents, I should say. So we have Native American warrior spirit here, or Aboriginal representation here. We also have a Middle Eastern, or think like it was Middle Eastern trader energy represented, and now there's Asian, a sacred one showing up here. Shaolin Master, be graceful in movement and action. So this is important, and the swan came through as one of the animal totems or spirit totems. So here it says, slow and steady, breathe and flow, take a gentler approach. The Shaolin Master calls forth the ninja within. Shaolin medicine is about learning to adapt to a situation and tap into the energy running through your body and preserving it in order to release it at the right moment. It also teaches subtlety, because when you are too forceful, you use too much energy, and that may not be supportive of what you're working on. The Shaolin Master, like a monk, has respect for all things. He is disciplined and guided by his art and will never use it to impress the foolish or to appear stronger than someone who is threatening him. You too are being invited to remain graceful in your movement, choices, and actions, like the swan, right? And slow and steady was another key term here in relation to this Shaolin energy, and that correlates also to the turtle, which I correlated back to law school, and slow and steady wins the race, and that's true. You have to be calm, cool, and collected. The protection guardian comes after the Shaolin Master. So that's another one. So there will be a time where you need to drop your shield, because we have a broken arrow here, right? So peace is coming. Protection guardian. Drop any shields of shame, resistance, or fear standing between you and your chances of enjoyment and fun. Know that you don't need to hide who you are or the gifts that you have. You were born to shine. About the Protection Guardian. The Protection Guardian is a feminine version of Archangel Michael. She is a fierce, protective, yet loving warrior angel who carries an indestructible shield of power and protection and will come to all who call on her. She will help you drop your fear-based shields and move into a loving, protective force field that will keep you safe but allow your gifts to shine outward. Although she is here to guard you from lower energies, she is completely relaxed, serene, confident, because she trusts that love will always prevail. And see, so the Shaolin Master, I didn't show, he's holding a praying mantis. That's pretty cool. Gentle, but exact and strong, right when you need to be exacting. And here's the Protection Guardian that mirrors the feminine aspect of Archangel Michael. Faith is his counterpart angel, but this Protection Guardian is a representation of Archangel Michael's indigo energy, and you can see her around the core of her body is the indigo dress and her beautiful feathers. She's got peacock feathers as her crown. Very pretty. Not imaginary. But use your imagination to help her protect you. She will help you drop your fear and move into a loving, protective force field. And I can tell you that force field does exist because that force field protected me as a targeted individual in California, as a scientist being targeted. The next one is the elder. The extended message for the Protection Guardian, I'm going to read the first part. You may have encountered shame or embarrassment in your past, but that is not your present. Angels are drawing close at this time to help you move beyond any limiting thoughts, emotions, and patterns that may be making you feel unsafe. Know that angelic protection is swirling around you at this moment and will help you move forward in a more fearless way. So call on them for help as your guides to change your frequency, your energy frequency, so you can feel safe and protected at this time. And that's also where crystals come in a big way. Knowing that you can shift and that you have these beings helping you is pivotal. It is pivotal in helping me continue shifting and teaching myself to keep continuously shifting despite those threats and those attacks. And that's how the negative entities gain advantage, right? It's the element of surprise, so you have to surprise them back, right? And you surprise them back by not being afraid. And that's when you shift. You keep shifting, shifting, shifting. So, and that's why this Elder card's important next, right after the Protection Guardian message, reminding us to move beyond those ancestral patterns because they are deep-seated in your DNA. And these entities know not only that, but they know how to manipulate DNA, which I talk about in the first part of this reading. Earth Magical Reading number 2 and the DNA card. And that DNA card is showing up again in this reading, Earth is Magical 2, just like it did in the first Earth is Magical reading. And there's 6 parts to that, as I mentioned. So I'm going to read the Elder, and then I'm going to wrap it up for the evening. I'll do one or two prayer cards before I close. So the Elder card is he's going to be one of the sacred ones. So I just have to find him. Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns, as I said. Move beyond the limitations that have been set for you by family members, past and present. Know that the energy of your spirit is more powerful than genetics and behavioral patterns. About the Elder. The Aboriginal people are the oldest tribal people still living on our planet. Their hunter-gatherer culture and ancient spirituality are rooted in tradition and balance with Earth. So the Aboriginal ancestors are offering you not only wisdom that will help you heal and adapt to the ever-changing planet, but also to understand what spiritual life should be like on our planet. The extended message, brief portion I'll read. The Elder is an ancestor who comes with a message of healing change. And that's what I'm conveying in each of these Earth is Magical readings, and Spirit is providing us with an enchanted map how to do so. He is an embodied soul, the Elder, yet he has had journeys that go beyond the physical. Therefore, he represents a reclamation of power, and that's what we're doing here, reclaiming our power. There are some people called the Learned Elders of Zion. I'm not talking about those people, and neither is Kyle Gray in this book. These are Aboriginal elders. The Learned Elders of Zion are corrupt religious figureheads that manipulate Christ energy and other forms of energy on our planet to maintain and exert oppressive control. Here, this elder is, again, an embodied soul, yet he's had journeys that go beyond physical. Therefore, he represents a reclamation of power from, power from within, not external grabs of resources and external power. So when the elder appears, it's an acknowledgement that you have the capacity to move beyond the limitations that have been placed upon you by these other entities I speak about. If you've had expectations of success, failure, sadness, or even sickness placed upon you, it is important to know that you are here to create your own story, and you will find additional messages to support you on my Patreon site, including my audio message, Don't Let Another Define You. I'll just finish reading this. This card represents personal healing that will bring healing to your family lineage, to your past, your present, and future. Know that you get to decide what you take on, and also know that your ancestors are rooting for you and are sorry for any setbacks created for you. And, they had to learn through this too, and they didn't have access to the internet like we did. So, can you imagine what they went through? So, forgiveness needs to happen also through your genetic line, not just forgiveness involving those who are targeting your genetic line and your genetic code. Um, and so I just wanted to show again um, the bottom of the deck, several cards. So the overall one was the trader. Exchange energy to create abundance and help others. In the spring, which we're at right now, see your seeds grow since last fall. What have you done since last fall? The wise one, grow within your current situation, and the owl means wisdom. I'm not talking about Moloch. We have the eagle, which was as I said, a spirit, an animal spirit or an animal totem that came through guardian gemstones and animal allies, part 3 of this reading. That also looks like a third eye right there, doesn't it? Stargazer. Well, look up at the stars and become more familiar with your place in the universe. It's not a coincidence that you're living at this point in time on Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. Set your sights higher, which means evolve in your consciousness, and you'll be able to communicate more readily with higher beings and the guardian angel. This will be the last one that I show right now. Guardian angel. So you are not alone. And there again is that eye, right? The all-seeing eye. Eye in the sky, like Alan Parsons Project sings about. So look around. You may notice feathers around you. Note the colors. Keep a journal. There are angel indications of angels around you. This is the sun, the symbol for the sun, and the symbol for the moon. Okay? So there's balance on our planet and in the cosmos. And the angels are here to help us gain that or regain that balance and that power. Because we're here, we're not junk. I was thinking about that T-shirt from the 70s. God doesn't make junk, or doesn't make no junk, or I'm not junk, because God doesn't make no junk, and that's true. So you're no junk. So if you're interested in a more detailed explanation of these bottom of the deck cards, let me know. I'll do it for a small fee. And I'm just going to put these in order real quick. So the eagle and the rabbit, if you go back and revisit this third part of this reading, listen to it. And the rabbit was the overall bottom of the deck energy for part 3, and we just came into spring, and that's important to acknowledge, because we're growing and spreading our wings into new territory on Earth. We're at a pivotal point. It's the age of Aquarius. People have talked about it, being of already happening in the 70s, or maybe even earlier than that. But really, it seems to be manifesting more obviously now. It was attempted because it takes each of us on this planet to cause this positive shift on Earth. And back in the 70s, it wasn't coincidental that the Vietnam War was occurring, right? And you had the flower power children, and you had John Lennon and Yoko Ono talking about bed peace, and you had many people singing about uh, war and protesting about war, and that was for a much bigger reason than we could have even fathomed back then. And the mechanics behind it, in my opinion, are being revealed more now, and that's helping us realize that we are actually being more successful um, into the 21st century to make this important shift happen toward the new earth. And so that's been part of my purpose as a scientist, environmental scientist, former military spouse, and a light worker. So with that, I'm just going to pull a couple of prayer cards. These are prayers to strengthen your faith. So I'll see how many come out. And it says on the top, a box of blessings, which if you listen to the third part of this reading, they were also there were several messages in relation to gemstones and animal totems talking about blessings. So let's see what Spirit has here. I do want to shuffle these real quick because they are a new deck and I haven't really used them. It's kind of hard with these other cards in the way. Let's see. We're almost at an hour for this fourth part, so I hope that you've enjoyed this second Earth is Magical reading. And you can send me an email. Let me know what you think. And if you want to set up a private reading, I have some time after the 15th of April. I'll be able to pen in some appointments if you're interested. Okay. Spirit guides, angels, 5D and above, archangels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Zadkiel, Archangel Jophiel, and all other archangels present. Thank you for aiding me in communicating this important Earth is Magical message. Please give us a few cards if possible that provide us with the important messages about blessings coming our way as warriors, as elders, as protection guardians on Earth and for Earth as we evolve into living on the new Earth. Help us exchange energy to create abundance for all of us, not to be in fear and let a few percent dominate over us. Help us receive the blessings that belong to each of us. They don't belong to anyone else trying to control resources, people, and positions that cause more harm than good on this planet. Please help this planet heal, and please help guide us with every message to heal ourselves and our planet. So Spirit gives us 2 messages. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. So here's another psalm. Okay, there's a psalm. There are two psalm scriptures that came through in the third part of this Earth Magic, Earth is Magical reading part 2, or number 2. So that's in the third part of this Earth is Magical reading number 2. This one is Psalm 23, 5 and 6. My cup overflows with blessings. So Spirit is telling you, by standing strong, releasing the old, resting but standing your ground, standing strong as a light warrior, you can drop your shield because you'll receive more and more protection from Spirit and from the angels, including Archangel, especially Archangel Michael, who's helped me tremendously. But also know that Archangel Raphael and Gabriel are helping us in relation to love and relations on our planet. And that gets back to this trader, right? Energy exchange and understanding people's different perspectives. You don't have to kowtow to the negativity, of course. And the second message is, create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Restore me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. So again, restore to me the joy of your salvation. So God is giving you, through Christ Jesus, salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. And that willing spirit involves being a light warrior, even in the darkness. To be graceful in movement and action while being protective of our critters on our planet, of dropping what's old and moving toward the new as you hold the space for the new earth to be birthed. And Archangel Michael will help you. Archangel Uriel is the Archangel of the North, and I correlate that angel to a North Star. You know, the North Star when Jesus was born, guiding the way. So each of the archangels is very important. Archangel Michael represents the southern hemisphere of our planet, and that's where the Southern Cross is. Okay, so we're dealing with Psalm again, Psalms 51, 10 through 12. Create in me a pure heart, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, God, and grant me a willing spirit to do these things, to sustain me. And when you do that, that's true sustainability. Agenda 21 is not true sustainability, or whatever they're calling it these days. It's all mind manipulation and resource control. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I think I want to do one more charm overall and see what comes through. Thank you, Spirit Guides. And what comes through is the butterfly. Namaste.